עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
Baruchim Habaim. Good evening and welcome to the Academy for Jewish Religion's celebration of service. My name is Bill Liss Levinson, and I have the privilege and good fortune of serving as the chair of the Academy's Board of Trustees. Our trustees exemplify the qualities of service, commitment, and dedication that we celebrate this evening as we pay tribute to all our incredible honorees. Within Rabbinic Judaism, we have a concept of a Metatio Dei, modeling our behaviors on the compassion, mercy, grace, and graciousness of God, of emulating God's ways of caring for the sick and bereaved, feeding the hungry, and clothing those less fortunate. These are just some of the ways in which we can take the spark of the divine that resides in all of us and extend that to bring light and warmth into the world for others, to make this world a more just and equitable home for all its inhabitants. And in serving others, we in effect serve God by fulfilling our divine purpose and mission. Our tradition going back to the book of Psalms takes this commitment of service a step further by giving us two distinct, strong messages about the ways in which we can serve God. In Psalm 2, verse 11, we are told, Ivdu et Hashem b'yirah, serve God in awe or reverence. While Psalm 100, verse 2 tells us, Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, serve God in happiness. These two callings might best be viewed as the moral guideposts that challenge us, even as we are immersed in lives of service. We are called upon to maintain a perspective of awe, of reverence, and humility. Humility that informs both our appreciation for the service of others and contextualizes the limits of what any of us may achieve. And simultaneously, we need to be able to find not only satisfaction, but joy and happiness in that which we do for and on behalf of others, knowing that we serve a larger purpose in the process. Both of these sayings call us to service with a sense of hope and aspiration for what more can be done, of what more we can do, and how much more we can become. So tonight we salute all our honorees this evening with heartfelt appreciation, respect, and admiration. And we thank you not only for your service, but also for being inspirational role models for us, role models of how to serve God with the fullness of our beings and how to be more godlike in our service to others. I'm now delighted and honored to introduce New York State Senator and dear friend of AJR, Senator Shelley Mayer.
Hi, I'm New York State Senator Shelley Mayer. I'm thrilled to join you, my friends, at the Academy for Jewish Religion for the celebration of service to honor the B'nai Mitzvah class of 2009. Rabbi Sharon Ballin, Cantor Meredith Greenberg, Rabbi Michael G. Cohn, Rabbi Rona Matlow, Rabbi Helena Rubenstein, Rabbi Greg S. Schindler, and Rabbi Jonathan Zimmett for 13 years of service, and the Mahadran class of 1997, Cantor Brian Glussman, Rabbi Shava Koster, Rabbi Elachan Sonny Schnitzer, and Rabbi Robert Silvers for your 25 years of service. Additionally, I would like to acknowledge Rabbi Julius Rabinowitz for receiving the Association of Rabbis and Cantors Alumnus of the Year Award. Congratulations on all these well-deserved honors. It is in difficult days like these that we turn to our faith and traditions for strength. Thank you for providing guidance and continuing to share all that you have learned at the Academy for Jewish Religion with the Jewish community and beyond. Best wishes to all, and I wish I could be with you today. Thank you.
How wonderful it is to be part of this event celebrating our illustrious and hardworking alumni. Before I turn to our honoree, Rabbi Julius Rabinowitz, I want to take a moment as president of the Association of Rabbis and Cantors to acknowledge all that AJR has accomplished. This is the moment for the alumni to acknowledge all that AJR has achieved and continues to achieve in the Jewish world at a time when it is most needed. Kol hakavod to the board, to the staff, and to Ora for their continued leadership and hard work. My association with AJR goes back a long time, a little more than 25 years, and I personally need to acknowledge those alumni that we honor this evening. Thank you for all that you do, that you have done, and will continue to do. We are honored to have you as our exemplars. It is appropriate that this year the Association of Rabbis and Cantors honors one of our own who embodies the value of ever moving forward and accepting new challenges. He has achieved recognition for this community in the past and desires to continue working for its betterment in the future. Julius has been a hardworking, ever-present ARC board member until stepping down 2 years ago. But his ongoing gift to all of us, alumni, current students, and tomorrow's students, is to be recognized by the JWB, enabling members of our community to become military chaplains. Although Julius will minimize the effort that this took on his part, the consistent effort is much appreciated. Julius is a thoughtful individual who came to AJR to simply study Torah. Instead, he made friends, became part of a community, now serves his own community as rabbi and teacher, and is a colleague many of us are proud to call Haver. It is my honor and privilege to award this year's ARC Alumni of the Year Award to Rabbi Julius Rabinowitz.
Linda, as I told you privately, I'm very grateful for this award, but truth be told, the success achieved here was very simple. AJR literally walked me through a door that was opened because of AJR and not because of me. But I thank you nonetheless. But with this honor, I get to confess something. When I first came to AJR, I had no desire to be a rabbi. I thought I was pretty well entrenched in my secular career. I knocked on AJR's doors because I heard that one could get a university level Jewish education here. And this was at a time in my life when I decided it might be a good idea to get to know God so that if we ever meet, God would not be a total stranger. But I did not want to be a rabbi. Well, God is still a stranger, but not a total one. And God had other ideas for me. And along the way, AJR threw in some rabbinical education that has helped me through these 10 years at my pulpit here in Connecticut at Beth Jacobs Synagogue. But it is the daily presence in my life of one wisdom or another that somehow seeped in over the years that makes my life so much more fulfilling. In this most thrilling time in my life, I can only marvel at the visions the AJR experience has afforded me over these years, including this latest one involving AJR's entry into the JWB. And I hope I can contribute again and again so that I can continue to grow in a manner that I could never have dreamed. So I want to personally thank Rabbi Enid for having given me this opportunity to do good for AJR. And Linda, as we spoke last week, I hope you will afford me another opportunity, and then another opportunity, and then another. Shalom, and again, thank you.
There was once a rabbi, Rabbi B'nai Lappi, who taught her daughter all of the mitzvot except for one. The rabbi saved the last commandment for her daughter's bat mitzvah. And on the day of the bat mitzvah, the rabbi said to her daughter, "I have taught you mitzvot. Now you are ready to learn the final mitzvah." The sage Rava taught that every Jew is obligated to write their own Torah scroll. Well, what did he mean by this? He meant that each Jewish person is meant to be Torah, to live out the story, to make the Torah their own. 13 years ago, AJR ordained clergy who have lived out this blessing. They have created their own Torah through making Jewish wisdom relevant to the lives of the diverse communities that they serve. After a career in the advertising and marketing industry, Rabbi Sharon Ballin's love for learning and teaching Torah has guided her to serve the Jewish community. She has served Jewish communities in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, Hollis Hills Jewish Center, and Little Neck Jewish Center. And now she has been the rabbi and spiritual leader of Temple Beth Sholom of Flushing, New York for the past 13 years. She has also been the treasurer of the Association of Rabbis and Cantors since 2012. At AJR, Sharon was blessed with receiving learning, training, and support. And now we are blessed with the learning, training, and support that Rabbi Sharon offers others.
The most powerful experience was during my first, watching my first ordination as a student. And it was beautiful to see them, and they came so far. Every time we had a retreat, and the talent, you know, our talent shows just always amazed me. It was just very like, I'm in very, the company there, the people there, the talent, the you know, the quality of students were just wonderful to see what was going on there. You should really cherish your experience at AJR. It's still with me. I'm still friends with most of the people at AJR. The camaraderie, the learning that goes on is just wonderful.
Rabbi Jonathan Zinnit has devoted his life to Tikkun Olam through building vibrant and inclusive Jewish communities. He came to AJR after years of bringing people together from diverse backgrounds. He led Tu B'Shvat Seders, Tisha B'Av services, and Shir HaShirim song fests. After ordination, Jonathan has served as a rabbi for several congregations in New York. He has interned for the Jewish Labor Committee, worked for Jewish-Muslim Dialogue, and led Jewish community group.
My strongest impressions were not any particular class, but the quality of my fellow students. Most of them have been in their second career, so they brought with them a wealth of life experience to the classes and other interactions I had with them. The quote that I put in my ordination book was, "I learned much from my teachers and yet from my colleagues and students even more."
Rabba Rona Matlau is an elder, disabled, veteran, gender punk, non-binary, transgender woman, rabbi, living in Las Vegas. Z was in the US Navy for 22 years, where Z served as a nuclear engineering officer and received numerous awards. Rabbi Rona Matlau holds 3 MA degrees and is currently pursuing a Doctor of Ministry with a focus on reinterpreting the Bible with an LGBTQ+ lens. We celebrate Rabbi Rona's service to the Jewish LGBTQ+ veteran and BIPOC communities as an activist, author, advocate, educator, counselor, and scholar who uses social media to provide free services to those in need.
When I took Jill Hammer's personal theology class and wrote my term paper, which asked, how do we see God manifesting in our lives? What I wrote was that God manifests by giving us opportunities, sort of like if you're walking down a hall and there are doors, and you have to be wise enough to pick the right door and bold enough to choose to open that door and walk through. And for me, there were 2 doors, JTS and the Academy. I picked the academy and walked through. And certainly, God gave me those opportunities and I picked the right one.
Cantor Meredith Greenberg has been a spiritual leader at Temple Ner Tamid in New Jersey since July 2008, 1 year before she was ordained. She seeks for lahavot esh, to create sparks of fire within each of us by creating meaningful davening experiences through music and prayer, teaching us to open to contemplative practice, study, and connection. Cantor Meredith Greenberg's passion for serving her community shines through her commitment to contributing to as many aspects of synagogue life as possible. We cherish Meredith's energetic, soulful, and enthusiastic approach to prayer that elevates life's joys and comforts community members in need.
I'm so extremely grateful to my relationship to the Academy and to all of the ways, all the different, points of people and experiences along the way that led me to AJR, which already, that's already its own fun story. But since my time at AJR, my world really opened up on truly unimaginable ways, because AJR still, first and foremost, is inviting us to figure out our very personal voice. And that is why all of my classmates and people again and again, year after year, who spend time in the Academy, you know them because there's a distinct way in which they are very finding a very personal way into Torah.
Rabbi Michael Kahn is the Rabbi Emeritus of the former Temple B'nai Abraham in Meriden, Connecticut, where he served as the Conservative Congregations Rabbi from 2008 to 2019, and even guided the community through a merger before he retired. Rabbi Michael continues to be an active member of the Greater Hartford and New Haven Boards of Rabbis, the Meriden Clergy Association, and he serves as an on-call chaplain at Mid-State Medical Center. He has served on AJR's Board of Trustees since 2011, holding the offices of Vice Chair, Secretary, and Treasurer at various times over the past 11 years. We admire Michael's strength to lead during challenging times and his curiosity for the new adventures that are to come in the future.
On, I believe, the second day of the retreat, Rabbi Aryeh Meir decided to hold Shacharit outside for those who were interested in being outside. And we had walked along as we kind of went through the Birkat HaShachar and the Pesukei Zimra. And then he kind of told people to get scatter, and there was this field with trees on both sides, and I can't remember if it was a golf course or not, but we all scattered for maybe 5 minutes or so, just communing with nature and what have you. And all of a sudden we hear this voice in the distance calling, Borechu, Borechu. And all of a sudden it just brought into focus what the meaning of the call to prayer was.
Since ordination, Rabbi Greg Schindler has tried to listen for and be available to the opportunities that God provides. When he is not working as a lawyer at Freepoint Commodities, he teaches classes in Tanakh, Prayer Book Hebrew, and regularly leads weekday services on Zoom. For over 20 years, he has written and produced a Yom Kippur play based on the book of Jonah. Who can forget the adventures of Rocky and Jonah Winkle, Horton Hears an Oi, or the Flintsteins? Greg has even played Mordechai the Innkeeper in a Federation production of Fiddler. We admire his continued curiosity and openness to learning more about Judaism every day.
Coming down from Connecticut, I wanted to beat the traffic in the morning, so I used to arrive very early, and then I wanted to daven, and I asked Ora if I could have a key to get into the building, and she made me like a laundry trustee in a jail. She let me have a key to get in, and every morning I'd be the first person in. I'd open the building, I'd go in the library, and I would daven, and I would hear behind me people start to arrive, and you hear the voices, and it was a really warm feeling. to be davening and to feel the building filling up.
Born and raised in Mexico City, Rabbi Helena Rubinstein has devoted her life to teaching. She has taught at the largest Jewish day school in Mexico, at the Teacher Development Institute of United Synagogue, and at the Pelham Jewish Center. Rabbi Helena is one of the founding members of Chabura Rosh Pinah of the River Towns, where she has fulfilled her dream of teaching and transmitting her enthusiasm for Judaism. We are so grateful for her strong connection to the Latin American Jewish community, which has led her to teach several individuals for conversion, another one of her passions.
I wanted to be a rabbi probably just to give more authority to my teaching in a way. The knowledge was, the most important thing. And one of the things that happened when I got to AJR is that I still think knowledge is important, but there's a very big but. It comes to mind something that my colleague, Rabbi Irving Huberman, once related. And he said his rabbi told him, if you don't like people, you better not become a rabbi. So that sticks in my memory because the most important thing is that you actually love people.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Ora Horn-Prauser, CEO and Academic Dean at the Academy for Jewish Religion. It is with deep respect and affection that we share this remembrance of our beloved teacher, Rabbi Yitzchak Mann, Zichrono Livracha, who was a longtime and revered faculty member at AJR. He made each person feel cared for and special. The number of people who have said, and Ora, I had a very special relationship with him, is beautiful. And the answer is, I know, because he was able to have that special relationship with so many and to make each person feel that they were his special talmid, his special student, his special friend, his special colleague.
And Rabbi Mann walked in. He was looking for one room, but he walked into the wrong room. It happens sometimes. And Jerome Chanis looks up and he says, "Future rabbis and cantors, I want you to know what just happened." He said, "A national treasure just walked in." Rabbi Isaac Mann.
I wouldn't be able to do any of the stuff that I'm doing today, 13, 14 years later, if it wasn't for him.
Rabbi Mann was one of my very first teachers. The first year that I came to the academy, I saw the first little glimpse of this sense of humor in his final exam, where he was asking whether if you didn't like the little grapes in the fruit salad, on Shabbat, were you permitted to pick out the grapes, or could you eat around the grapes and leave them? The next year was the great Sufganiya versus Latka debate, where Rabbi Mann and Rabbi Zlotowitz of blessed memory debated the relative merits, and Rabbi Mann used Pardes as a way of proving that the latke was a better symbol for Hanukkah.
His handwriting was so beautiful and clear, and he wrote the most encouraging notes on your exam, even if you got the question wrong.
It was the most wonderful experience to study with him.
His name is Isaac Mann, Yitzhak Mann, and he is a true mensch. It's just, I don't think it's a coincidence that his name is Mann. He really is the epitome of a mensch.
Anytime I hear or think of the phrase Ahavat Yisrael, the image of Rabbi Mann comes to mind, because I don't know anyone who embodied that principle better than he did.
I am a rabbi today because of Rabbi Mann's gentleness and patience. He was the ultimate mensch. Sweet, kind, gentle, soft-spoken, encouraging.
In 1997, AJR ordained several new members of the Jewish clergy, and it was probably hard to imagine the ways they would go on to lead the Jewish world for the past 25 years. Whether serving as the dedicated clergy member of a synagogue for many years, fostering interfaith connections with non-Jewish communities, running and contributing to major Jewish organizations, or modeling a meaningful Jewish life for others, the class of 1997 has accomplished so much to make our school and our extended community proud. Today, we are so pleased to celebrate them and their accomplishments. For nearly 3 decades, Rabbi Robert Silvers has invested himself in his community, Congregation B'nai Israel of Boca Raton, Florida. Transitioning from serving as its student rabbi to its senior rabbi, and now as Rabbi Emeritus, Bob has built the community and strengthened ties with its Baptist neighbor, expanding his interfaith work to include serving as a guest scholar at St. Vincent Roman Catholic Seminary and as a part of a community-wide Jewish Evangelical Christian dialogue group. He's also been honored to be a part of a Klal-sponsored pluralism retreat, to lecture at Florida Atlantic University, and to give the opening invocation for the U.S. House of Representatives.
To know that AJR feels a sense of gratitude to its students and alumni and want to be grateful for and appreciative of all those who came before. It gives you a sense of that this is a school that doesn't care just about academics and grades, but it cares about people, and it understands and wants to be menschs. That's what's important at AJR. It's one of the reasons why I found it so meaningful to be there. They cared for us as individuals and as people, and I pray it's still the case today.
Rabbi Brian Glessman serves communities in Pennsylvania and Colorado before going on to become a prominent Jewish voice in the South. He worked as senior rabbi at Temple Beth El in Birmingham, the largest conservative congregation in Alabama, while also teaching at the University of Alabama and Stanford University, and then went on to become the director of engagement at the Marcus Jewish Community Center of Atlanta in 2010. Brian has also appeared as a scholar in residence for JNF's National Young Leadership Retreat and at the Southeastern UJC's Young Leadership Conference. And he's worked with recovering Jewish alcoholics and substance abusers, having a major impact on many different communities.
Attending AJR was a choice for me. There were a number of opportunities available, other rabbinic schools, but AJR created this environment where inquisitiveness was important, where dialogue, discussion, discourse, learning from one another was paramount. I was introduced to expressions of Judaism I was completely unfamiliar with. I learned about Jewish renewal, Jewish meditation, Jewish practice that was unheard of given my Orthodox background. And learning through this diversity and various approaches helped me in my goal of becoming a rabbi and answering the needs of the community.
Heralded as one of America's most inspiring rabbis by the Jewish Forward, Rabbi Cantor Sonny Schnitzer serves as spiritual leader for the Bethesda Jewish congregation. He is a builder of bridges, connecting with both Christian and Muslim sibling communities and dedicating almost 20 years to working with the Jewish communities of Cuba. Sunny is an innovator of Jewish music and a committed member of a number of important advocacy organizations, including Rabbis for Human Rights and Bend the Arc. As he prepares to retire from pulpit this June, his community and all of us appreciate all that he has accomplished in his tenure.
I think the most powerful event wasn't really an event, it was the whole gestalt of AJR, that it was a very nurturing place. I have been in other rabbinic programs. I got my rabbinic smicha from Aleph, and it was in no way like AJR, where you really were made to feel that your work was precious, that you were precious and mattered, and that the faculty was dedicated to growing you so that you could be a Klei Kodesh. It wasn't necessarily about exams or comprehensives. It was more about becoming a mensch and doing so in a way that would serve the Jewish people.
After ordination, Rabbi Judith Edelstein went on to augment her training by earning a Doctor of Ministry in Counseling and becoming certified as a chaplain. She was the spiritual leader at Temple Hatikva in New Jersey before becoming the director of religious life at the well-known Jewish Home and Hospital in New York City. She is a prolific author and teacher, publishing articles, book chapters, and Divrei Torah, and teaching adults at the JCC for many years. Judith has maintained a close connection to the AJR community, with lifelong friends cultivated from among AJR students, and having served as a member of the AJR board for nearly a decade, and most significantly, serving as the chair of the board.
The most powerful memory I have is standing next to my Chavruta partner, Tamara Miller, during davening and discovering that there was a service prior to the Torah service, and her instructing me as to what it was and where the page numbers were, and how shocked I was to learn that there was another earlier 15 minutes.
I've recently retired from my congregation after 28 years. June 30th was my last day. I'm primary caregiver for my wife, who unfortunately was diagnosed 6 years ago with dementia that continues to progress. But I still continue to provide help to the current leadership in the congregation as Rabbi Emeritus of Congregation B'nai Israel. I do services, weddings, B'nai Mitzvah, funerals, and do some teaching and stay busy doing all of those things as well.
I am currently the rabbi at the Jewish Community Center in Atlanta, and part of my job includes outreach, engagement, infusing and weaving Judaism throughout our agency. I'm also a visiting rabbi at a small synagogue in Columbus, Georgia, where I have the opportunity to minister to a small Southern congregation, which provides me opportunity to continue teaching and working from the pulpit, which I love to do.
I'm on the trajectory to retirement. I have been 20 years in my current pulpit in Bethesda, Maryland. And so looking forward to doing what I want to do rather than what I have to do each and every day.
Now I am doing a lot more than I had imagined I would be doing. I'm not retired. I'm teaching. I teach several classes for the Musar Institute through the course of the year. And I love that work because it's facilitating, it's getting to know people, and it's connecting people to each other. And I also have been teaching at the Marlene Meyerson JCC of Manhattan, where I've been teaching basic Judaism. And I've been doing it for 14 years, and I love it. Because each time I meet a student, I'm re-experiencing my own engagement with Judaism and falling in love again. So I'm very lucky because I've had many lovers over the years. And a number of the students go on to convert and study privately with me. And I have a lot of young friends, so it could be better.
What a very beautiful evening this has been. We do recognize, however, that we are having this incredible celebration against the backdrop of a dark and horrific time of war and terror in Ukraine. And we stand with the people of Ukraine. We pray for them, their leaders, and for the hope of peace and security for all. Yet, while we do what we can and we try very hard to support those in need, we also know that we need to celebrate. We need to live lives of joy, and we need to show our appreciation for those who make a difference. We are thrilled to be honoring our alumni. AJR today stands on the shoulders of all those who came before us. We are so proud of all of you who have lived your dream for yourselves and created and nourished dreams for the Jewish community. You make a difference in large and small ways, building communities and comforting individuals, reaching out to connect with others, both near and far, and helping individuals to find their best selves. We are very grateful to you as we know that you are out there representing us every day. AJR has grown tremendously since those being honored tonight were students. Even just within the last 5 years, we have experienced rapid growth, becoming accredited, we've doubled in size, we've created new programs and restructured our curriculum to make sure that it speaks to the Jewish community of today and tomorrow. In addition to our rigorous curriculum of Bible, liturgy, rabbinic texts, Hebrew language, history, philosophy, pastoral care, and Nusach, our students take required courses in peace studies, in sacred arts, and in science and Judaism. As an example, just in the last few years, our students have studied biblical texts through deep textual reading, through comparative religion and literature, through poetry, through science, bringing a multitude of scientists into our classroom to help to explain biblical imagery, and through circus arts, as we learn to think and read with our bodies and not only with our minds. AJR's emphasis on creativity and reaching people where they are prepares our students to truly impact on the Jewish community as it develops and grows. AJR thus has taken its rightful place as a true leader in clergy education. The curriculum is one part of AJR's understanding of pluralism. We believe that there is not one way to live a Jewish life, and there is not one way to study a biblical text. We cherish the variety of approaches, and we know that we all grow through the appreciation of diversity and through connection with many different people and many different ideas. Our honorees live out this credo in their lives and in their work, and we are so happy to be highlighting that work and those lives today. This week's Torah portion, Parashat Shmini, begins with Vayihi Bayom Hashmini. It came to pass on the 8th day, referring to the context of the previous 7 days of preparation for the priestly installation of Aaron. The rabbis in Masechet Megillah of the Talmud, however, looked at this 8th day not as the day following the 7 days that preceded it, but rather as the 8th day after the 7 days of creation. They were making the point that the installation of Aaron as high priest was a continuation of the work of creation. I think that we can take that a step further and see our own holy work, our own sacred tasks, as a continuation of the 7 days of creation. In that way, our efforts on behalf of individuals, communities, Israel, and the larger world are done in partnership with the divine as a continuation of the sacred work of creation. Our cherished alumni that we are honoring today, we appreciate and value your commitment to this sacred enterprise that you have been engaged in for these many years. And we know that the world is a better place. Creation is more complete because of all that you do. I now invite Rabbi Jill Hammer, Director of Spiritual Education, and Cantor Michael Casper, Dean of Cantorial Studies and Director of Student Life and Placement, to join us to bless our honorees.
Biddy bum 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 ba-dum bum bye bum bye bye dum bye 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 bye. Biddy bum 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 biddy bum bye bum 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 biddy bum bum biddy bum 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 biddy bum 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 bye hey bye 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 bum bye 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 be bye 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 I die bye 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 bye.
Morim umorot hanikbadim v'hanikbadot shelanu, our dear colleagues and teachers, we bless you on this day of honoring your 13 years of giving of yourselves. The Holy One once said to Abraham, Lech lecha v'heyeh bracha, go forth and be a blessing. So you have been a blessing to your community and your people. And Rebecca was once blessed, Hayila alfei ravava, may you grow into many thousands. So too you have helped many to grow and learn and heal and be renewed. You have been a blessing and have increased blessing in the world. You have caused God's name to be remembered at many times and in many places. You have taught Torah. You have opened hearts in prayer. You have rejoiced with the joyful and comforted the bereaved, offered compassionate witness to suffering, sought justice for those who need justice, prayed for healing, helped children to learn and grow, and helped the troubled to find peace. As you have been a blessing for others, may you receive a blessing to go from strength to strength in your work as Klei Kodesh, as vessels for holy experience. May Hamakom, the one who is in all places, come to you and bless you wherever you are, on whatever path is yours to follow. May you be supported in all the worlds, material, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual, as you support others in all the worlds. Maaseh yedechem konena aleinu, may the work of your hands be established for us all. May wisdom be before you, compassion be at your right, courage be at your left, and healing always follow behind you. Ba'al roshechem shchina. May the holy presence be above and below you as you continue in your sacred work. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. May we strengthen each other as we go forward. Amen. Morim umorot hanikbadim v'hanikbadot shelanu, our dear colleagues and teachers, we bless you on this day of honoring your 25 years of giving of yourselves. The Holy One once said to Moshe, Ani avir kol tuvi al panecha, I will cause all my goodness to pass before you. So you have loyally witnessed and facilitated the breadth of Jewish life and human experience. In the book of Micha, God says to the people, I have sent before you Moshe, Aharon, and Miriam. So each of you has been sent before us to bring your unique gifts to your people, to connect individuals and communities with God, with their tradition and with one another, and to tend them in their joys and grief. You have caused God's name to be remembered at many times and in many places. You have taught Torah, you have opened hearts in prayer, you have rejoiced with the joyful and comforted the bereaved, offered compassionate witness to suffering, sought justice for those who need justice, prayed for healing, helped children to learn and grow, helped the troubled to find peace. As you have been a blessing for others, may you receive a blessing to go from strength to strength in your work as Klei Kodesh, as vessels for holy experience. May Hamakom, the one who is in all places, come to you and bless you wherever you are, on whatever path is yours to follow. May you find support in all the worlds, material, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual, as you have supported others in all the worlds. Ma'aseh yadechem konena aleinu. May the work of your hands be established for all of us. May wisdom be before you, compassion be at your right, courage be at your left, and healing always follow behind you. Ba'al Rishachem Shechina. May the holy presence be above and below you as you continue in your sacred work. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. May we strengthen each other as we go forward. Amen.
Bedi bye 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 bye.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for supporting our students and alumni. We urge you to be in touch with us to learn more about AJR and to support our sacred work. We also hope you will join us at future events, beginning with the live stream of our ordination on April 7th. Please also put on your calendars June 16th for a very special event in collaboration with the Alan Alda Center for Communicating Science, at which we will honor Alan Alda and our own Rabbi Jill Hackel, and which will inaugurate the first of several institutes that AJR is going to be creating over the next few years. And this one will inaugurate our institute bringing Jewish life and science into dialogue. So stay tuned and stay in touch. Laila Tov.